What's up, guys? It's Bye here. The moment you've been waiting for is finally here. Kingdom's 1860 KvK rankings is finally out. Today, you will be able to find out how your favorite Rise of Kingdom YouTuber did in his last stripe, the 8 KvK, with 100% free-to-play research. So what I will cover in this video today. First, I will show you guys my rankings and thought over this KvK. Second, I will go over how 1860 calculate the RKP points. And after that, I want to give some shout out for some of the players in 1860. And lastly, let's talk about Death Troop again. I love this topic. So let's go right into it here with the first. I'm gonna review you guys the rankings for Kingdom 1860. Um, so I am at rank number 14 in the ranking for Kingdom 1860 for the last KvK with 100% free-to-play research. I would say this is a pretty much like a very good accomplishment here for like a free-to-play player, especially in Strap the 8 or Heroic Anthem KvK right here. So I'm pretty proud with my performance here. Right, coming into this KvK, I know that it's gonna be very tough to go for that number 1 spot, just because of like the huge gap between like free to play research and pay to win research here. Especially I know that like for like Heroic Anthem or like Strap the 8 KvK, you're going to have to sacrifice a lot of troop as well. And knowing my accounts, I know that I do not have that many troop to sacrifice. Right, I try my best to get what I can. But like coming into this KvK, I already know that it's gonna be very difficult, especially when it comes to like getting more kills and if I can do a lot in this KvK or not. Comparing to like other KvK, season 2, season 3, I can do a lot more. Comparing to this new KvK here, Season of Conquest, it is a lot tougher, but it is not impossible. As you can see right here, right, I've highlighted my ranking right here. Bye. I start the so this is recorded from when the level 6 pass open until we finish in Kingsland, which is about 8 to 9 days worth of recording here, right? All the data are from I think 8 days worth of the data here. So for myself, right, I start at 81 million power here. And by the time we finish, I was at 68 million power. I dropped 12.8 million power here, and I had about 1.7 million death troop. And the amount of T4 kills I got was 14.8 million T4 kills and 15.2 million T5 kill here, and around 30.1 million kill here in total. So I think I stopped fighting after I think like around the end of the first day after Kingsland opened. And I think I got about 30.1 million kills there, and I was pretty happy. I went to sleep, and after I wake up the next day, pretty much everything was pretty much over there. And I think that is where my kill play stopped. I think I did some more fighting later, but it doesn't get count here. So I think they stopped the count after they like, okay, we won Kingsland here, so no need to keep track of the kills anymore. Um, and you can also see right here, right? Not that many players was able to achieve that 30 million kills, right? It's probably like 10, about 10 to like 20 players, right? Even some of the players at the top here, right? They couldn't even get that like 30 million kills as well. After the Kingsland is done, right? How many? Let's check here. Let's count how many people that got that 30 million kills. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, or let's say 12 here. 13, right? 14, let's say close. 14, 15, right? 16, right? Around, I would say around like 20 players. Probably some player at the bottom here might get 30 million kills as well. Maybe, I don't know. But like around 20 players was able to achieve that 30 million kills. So just to show you guys that it is not easy, right? Getting that 30 million kills is not an easy task. Like a lot of people think that, oh, it's so easy to get that 30 million kills. wait until you can actually go into the fight and try to get the kills, right? You either get the kills or get killed instead. So that is another I think another big issue with Season of Conquest KvK is that there are too many kingdoms, too many players, and sometimes it's very can be very difficult to get kills. Like more players doesn't mean you gotta be able to get more kills. Sometimes it can mean a different. It can turn in the opposite direction there. Like more players, it could be more players on the opposite side as well, and they gonna wreck you, right? So you got have more severe wounded. You got fill your hospital faster as well, and especially as I said before, right? Scene of Conquest is very difficult for a free to play player, especially if you don't have some good commanders. Like research, you definitely not gonna have a very good research. Doesn't matter how much you try. I try to get as good, like as high as possible with my research, but still, right? There's still like a big gap, especially as the fight go longer, right? As it get like to the later of the KvK, right? Especially if you had to wait until Kingsland open to got your fight in. By that time, like the pay to win players, they gonna have their research so much higher, and it's gonna be a lot more difficult for you to fight against some of their players, right? If the fight happened earlier, right, at the level 4 pass open, right, first few days, there's not gonna be like a huge gap difference, right? You might be able to perform better, but like as the KvK like keep like going to the later stage of the KvK, it's a lot more difficult for like free to play player. Is one thing I noticed from this KvK. Okay, second thing, I will be explaining to you guys how Kingdom 1860 doing the total RKP point here, right? How do we calculate these points? So as you can see right here at the top, right, we got some number here. I think these are the constant, like the factors that we use to calculate the point. So for every death tube, right, for every death tube here, you get 10 points. You get 10 points per death tube here. Doesn't matter if it is T4 or T5, as it's you cannot track of like the tier of death tube here. So 1 point for 10 points per death tube here, right? So for me, I got 1.7 around 1.7 million death tube here, and in return I got 17 million points here for my death tube. We also get 1 point per T4 unit kills here. So like for every single T4 unit kill, you get 1 point. So for me, I got 14 million kill, right? So I got like a 14 million kill here for T4. So in return, I got 1 point for each T4 unit kills, and that gave me a 14.8 million points here for T4 unit kills. And we also gave 2.5 points per T5 unit kills. So for myself, I get 15.2 million T5 kills, and in return, I got 38 million points here in total from the T5 unit kills. And if you add up the three in here, and you'll get a total of your RKP points per player. So for myself, I add 17 million, 14 million here, and 38 millions, which gave me 70 million points here overall. Another thing that 1860 has is a goal for RKP. This number here is more like an expectation, right? What does 1860 expect you to perform based on your power? So you can see at the top here, right? The ratio is 0.2, and it is based on your total power. So for example, right, myself, I was at 81 million power here at the beginning. Um, and my expected performance, like my expected RKP points is 16 million. So I will expect it to get at least 16 million point here to achieve my goal, right? Based on my power here. So like everybody in the kingdom has to perform according to their power here. Um, so you also see here, right? So 0.2. So let's say for this player here, Dark Cookie. So like if it is 0.2, why he's not expected to get 100 millions? We do have like a limit here, right? So like everybody has life, right? Like doesn't mean like a big player, right? Uh, Even like a billion power player, you can only have so much like 6-7 marches, right? It's just not like you can magically you have a like 10 or 20 marches on the field because you have more power. So there is a limit for each player here. Like for the maximum number for the goal for RKP is 30 millions. So it doesn't matter how much, how high your power is. The cap is 30 million here, so you expect to get 30 millions. And these players, they all like overachieve their requirement here, right? So you can see right here, Darker Sand, he was expected to get 30 millions, but he got like 200 million here. So very, very good for him. Um, so that is how 1860 calculate the RKP points, and some of the things that we have here. Some of the new things that we have. We didn't have the last KvK. So this thing is definitely new. We didn't have the percentage goal here as well. So this is definitely new as well. And I think it is more clear this time, right? We're putting the point here at the top here. So people know, right? What do they expect? Like how do they calculate the score, which is good. So that is how 1860 calculate the RKP points. If you guys are interested in to know, like, how do we come up with the total score here at the end of KvK? Okay, so next one, I do want to give some shout out to some of the player here in Kingdom 1860. For this KvK, right? I think they perform extremely well, right? Very, very highly committed players. Definitely Darker Sand, right? Every time I log into the game, right, this guy most often online and launching a lot of rallies. I think he have expertise Sangyu and Chan Gupta, right? So one of the main rally for 1860 here, very, very active, right? The mighty leader of 1860. So definitely represent Kingdom 1860 here, right? With a big power job here, right? Going from 200 million power now to 98 million power here, with 12.5 million death tube here. Dark Cookie is okay. Like he was online, but I don't think he's that super active from based on my own observation. Uh, Again, right, the big player, right, they have a life, right? So his performance is okay based on my opinions. He is definitely like a big player. I think people have a high expectation for him for sure, but hey, he have a fucking 3 accounts and he contribute a lot. So, but I want to give the shout out to some of the very, very active players that I see, for these players that have a very, very, they commit a lot to this KvK, I would say. Cloud is also one of the main rally as well. I think I saw quite a lot of his rally. Davish, I think Davish was very active. You can tell from his skill here. I think Cloud was also very active as well, right? Very active. Davish and Cloud, I think I saw the two rally a lot, right? Very, very active rally leaders. Most of the often, I think the other two main rally leader for DN1 as well. I think Cloud mostly rally with Archer, and Davish. I think Davish have a lot of commanders, right? I think this guy will like Garrison. Yes, I think he had Garrison commander. He had rally commander as well. So he most of the time like he was like doing a lot of things, right? Multitasking here, Garrison and rally stuff here. So one of the very, very active player here for 1860. We couldn't win without this guy here. Some of these guy here, right? Dark Neil, maybe is it like a DNT player, right? I don't Probably maybe a DNT player. I don't remember seeing her in him in DN1. So I wasn't able to pay a lot of attention to the other lines as well, right? Because I think we were fighting in two different fun line here, right? So we got DNT fighting in got DNT fighting against 1534, and we got DN1 fighting against A9. And I wasn't able to pay a lot of attention to DNT, right? I went there sometime, but I don't stay there most of the time. So definitely another very, very high active player here as well, right? You can tell from the death tube count here and the amount of kills that this player have. Dark Ottomans, another player here from the leadership here, right? Big power job here. I think he was also in DNT or Savage League team as well. So this definitely affected his performance in the team as well, right? Dropping down to like 76 million power definitely affect you how you perform in all Savage leagues there. So but like that, like a big commitment you have to have for leading the kingdom, right? So big job in power here, and very, very high amount of kills as well. Master Yi is also another big rally leader. I think Dark Soul also a big rally leader as well. Very, very active. Dark Soul, X-Mac. Um, well, I don't remember. Like he dropping a lot of power for sure. but I don't remember. Maybe we just on a different timeline. But again, right, big power job here, right? 3.7 million power lot that troop here. Not that many kills. Probably they're too busy with reinforcing structure and rallies. Probably. I don't remember seeing him rally a lot. I don't think he's one of the main rally leader. I know Ducky is one of the main rally leaders for DNT. I think I saw him rally with Archer. I think Dark JB is in DNT as well. I could be wrong, right? I can't remember, but again, right, a big power job here. Um, so I think AP, okay, AGB pair is also I think one of the active garrison captain for DN1 as well, right? As you can see here, I think he's I think AGP pair he focused a lot more on garrisoning. I don't think he rallying, but I think he's one of the main garrison captain. So we need the player to be online most of the time, to be honest. So like big commitments there for this player. Um, so next I want to give some shout out to some of the small players, right? I want to see some of the small low power players that contribute quite a lot in this KvK. So we got Dark Stylo here. Dark Stylo was at 63 million power here, right? Down to like 56 million power. That is pretty much very close to a zero yourself right here, right? If you see some of the big T5 account players, when you get zero, you down to like 52, 53 million power here. So this guy right here dropping to like 56 million. So this guy probably gonna be having a very difficult time doing in like Ark of Osiris and some other event here. So that is but like a big commitment here for like a small player. I think Dark Stylo is also one of the R4 for DN1 as well. So like a very big leading by like I would say leading by example here, right? Hey, you're a small player, but you're leading the alliance. Hey, show it what it like to be a leader, right? You cannot be telling people to reinforcing the structure when you're not reinforcing the structure. So that is something you need to keep in mind. So like very big. I definitely want to give like a big shout out to this guy here, right? Like very big commitment here, big power drop here for like a very low power player. We got a now 67 million power player here, right? Dropping 6 million, right? Sacrifice 2.3 million troop here for the KvK with a very decent amount of kills. So very good for him. Uh, any other small players that I want to give a shout out to? QSK, right? 2 million, right? 2 million death troop here, right? He's definitely trained more troop here. So this guy is like a younger player here. So younger player at 65 million power. So he definitely like a medium spender or something here to have this kind of power. So he definitely trained more troop here to make sure that he maintain his account. Some any other small player here. We got another 67 Dark Grand here, 67 million power. A pretty decent amount of like RKP point here. Next one we got Dark Chewy, right? 64 million power here as well, right? Very good performance here for like a small account here. Anyone else, right? I think I saw like a 40 million power player somewhere. Did I miss him? Maybe he's no longer on the list. Like I saw like a 40 million power players earlier, right? We got another 65 million power player here, right? Dark Dury, right? Pretty decent performance here, pretty decent contribution to the kingdoms. Dark NME here, 66 million power, right? Good contribution to the kingdom here. So yeah, right. Like I definitely want to get like a big shout out to the big player here from DN1. Dark Hassan, Cloud, Davish, 19, Dark Niao, Dark Ottoman here, Master Yi, Dark Soul, X Mac here, right? Dark Key, Dark JB, Claro here, maybe. I don't want to give shout out to too many players, but I definitely think these players are the reason why we won the KvK, right? Very highly committed players. In terms of like they invest the money, right? They invest the money, they invest the time, and hey, like we couldn't win this KvK without them, to be honest, right? A lot of time like without Davish, I'm like shit, right? We need a rat leader. We need a garrison captain. I like, yo, where do we get the garrison captain from? Right? This guy go to sleep. So like a lot of time we struggle a lot when these players go to sleep. And I understand, right? Like we cannot expect this guy to be online every day, especially when our KvK lasted for more than fucking 8 9 days, right? Since the level 6 pass open. Right? There have been non-stop fighting back and forth between the camps. And to be honest with you guys, right, I expect these guys to have life as well. Right? I don't expect these guys to be on all the time, but for them to have that commitment to be on, to help garrison the structure, to help rallying structure, hey, man, big thumb ups to this guy. So I'm myself, it's just like a very small players, right? I can really help with the open field, and sometimes help with reinforcing structure, right? 1860 can live without me. That is what I'm trying to say, right? They don't need me, right? But they need these players, right? Without these players, we couldn't win. So again, right, another big shout out to the player here. Don't try to recruit these players from our kingdoms. Okay, next one is I want to talk about death tubes. One of the very sensitive topics that I want to talk about, right? So right here, right, you guys like here you guys have some kind of like a very real data here, right? I would say 1860 is a pretty decent, or I would say decent to a strong fighting kingdoms based on the performance so far. If you look at the amount of death tube and kill here, so I got a sum here, right? The total amount of death tubes that we have as a kingdom overall, we got 510 million. 510 million death tube here overall for the kingdom, 1860 only. The total number of T4 kill we have is 1.5 billion T4 kills, almost 1.7 billion T5 kill here. And the total kill for Jet Our Kingdom alone is 3.2 billion kills. And like I remember, right? I think I remember for when I look at 1612 and 1556 KvK. For the cam, I think the cam death tube were, I think for V612 cam death tube was around 600 or 700 million. So like, hey, we only one kingdom here, right? One kingdom, and we have almost close to the total amount of death tubes there for the entire camp, right? I want to compare with one of the KvK most recent crazy KvKs that I have the data on my hand. So I would say 1860 is a pretty strong fighting kingdoms based on the amount of death tube and kills that we have here. So, so this is the real data, right? The amount of death tubes that each players in Kingdom 1860 have for the past 8 days of fighting for this KvK, and right, we got some crazy player, right? We got some crazy player losing like 12 million death tube here, right? Darker Sand, big commitment here for this player. We got some other player losing like 6 million, 3 4 million here. But like if you're looking at the average overall, right? If you look at the average overall, you probably see around, you see a lot like 2 million, 1.5 million, 1 million, right? And I think that is probably the expected number for Season of Conquest KvK, right? Like people don't get fucking, like nobody get 3 4 million troops every freaking KvK to kill off. And that is another thing I want to talk about, right? I talk about in my other video as well, but I want to show you guys here, right? Like there there are a limited number of death troops that each player can sacrifice. Like, it doesn't matter how strong of like a fighting kingdom you are, but look at it, right? For example, right here, look at some of the top player here, right? Say Davish, right? This guy fucking dropped 4 million troop here. He like, I would say like 4 million troop are like go above and beyond, right? And for this guy to go down to a 75 million power, right? He cannot perform very well anymore, right? With 75 million power, and that is only 4 million to loss only, right? But like, how do we keep expecting these players to keep losing 4 million to every KvK? That is just unreal. That is just like an unreal expectation there. Or we got some other player here, right? Even for myself, right? I'm going from 81 million to 68 million power here, and I only lost 1.7 million troop, and it's already greatly affected my freaking performance in Arc, right? I don't have a troop for Arc of Osiris anymore. It's greatly affecting my performance in other events, especially Arc of Osiris is like a big things in Rise of Kingdoms, especially you like one of the competitive players, you want to perform well in those events. it's just very difficult to be able to commit in KvK at the same time commit to perform well in Arc. So that is like a big like decision making wise there for a lot of players when it comes to contributing to KvK. Let's see some of the other player here, right? So it's AGB pair here, right? 100 million power, losing like almost 4 million tube here, down to 72 million power, right? Like how do you guys expecting this guy to keep things the same performance in Arc of Osiris as when he had 100 million power, right? So it's showing you guys here, right? You guys can get like an average number here, right? Let's highlight the column here, so that you guys can get an idea, right? A better idea of like what amount of death tube look like for some of the strong fighting kingdom in KvK, right? Like I think some people just have some fucking crazy expectation. Like people expecting me to lose 3 million tube. Like fucking I only have 4 million. Not even close to 4 million, like 3.8 million tube. And people expecting me to lose 3 million tube for KvK. I mean like, come on. Like seriously, right? Like if it comes down to the point that everybody is going to lose like 3 million troops, then maybe, but like, I still want to perform well in Arc of Osiris. And I don't know, like a lot of time it had to come down to that decision making wise there. Like should you keep like zeroing yourself for like a KvK or not? And most of the time, right, it's come down to the kingdom. Like even some of the top kingdom, right? If you guys remember, um, 1254, right? 1254, they went into like a very tough KvK, and some of the big players they zero themselves, but not every players, right? I think a lot of time it's very difficult for the small player to recover, and it's like a decision making wise there to be a hey, like we know that the big player, right, the committed players they contribute, right, they sacrifice, we try our best, but at the same time the big players they can recover quickly and we cannot recover quickly. That is the hard truth right there, right? It's difficult, right, for me, right? I want to help, right? I try what I can. I try my best to help with KvK, but at the same time, like, I want to do well. I want to do well in Ark of Osiris as well. So there is that limit that when it get to that limit of my troop remainings, like I am very reluctant to reinforce more. Like don't get me wrong, right? I'm just being 100% honest with you guys here. Like people can think that I am a crazy fighter, but I'm very active fighter on the field. But at the same time, I want to be able to perform in Ark of Osiris as well, right? That is like a big thing for me, and I cannot just fucking go zero myself anymore because I cannot recover, right? I zero myself before, and it's greatly affecting my performance. So that is another thing that I want to talk to you guys today, right? Just want to share with you guys the real data here for, I would say, one of the strong fighting kingdoms in Rise of Kingdom here when it comes to KvK, right? The amount of death troop, right? You don't see people going crazy, right? Like very strong fighting kingdom, but at the end of the day, right, it's got to come down to everybody, right? Everybody in the kingdom had to contribute together to come up with the number here, right? Everybody had to show us the amount. Everybody had to share some of the death trip here. Everybody had to contribute with the field control and whatnot, right? And it is a kingdom. It is the kingdom. The kingdom had to work together in that aspect. And uh, when it comes to like when it comes to like zeroing yourself, most of the time only like 15-20 players. And when it comes to the points that you have to zero yourself, 95% of the 95% chance 95% of the times that you're going to lose KvK. Right? If you had to go to the point that some of your players have to completely zero themselves and you are still on the losing side, it just it just feel like it's just like a pointless waste of troop right there, right? You are in the heat of the moment, right? You don't think, you just want to win, and you don't think clearly, and like just asking player, right? Everybody to zero themselves. Um, I don't know. It's like a very very tough decision right there, even for me, right? Even though I am saying I don't want to sacrifice, but like when it comes down to the time that when I feel like the entire kingdom like yo screw this, let's go everybody going ham. Hey, you never know, thing can change, right? It happened to me before many times, right? I've told myself many times before that hey fuck it, I'm not gonna reinforce anymore. But when it comes to that moment when you're like oh shit, the gate or the flag is being burned, and you there you're like oh shit, gotta help out, right? Cannot just stand there and just watching. um so that is gonna be like a decision making right there for a lot of players. It's like a tough decision to be honest with you guys, right? Even for myself, a lot of time it can be very tough to make that call right there, to either to save your troops so that you can do well in Ark of Osiris, or just give it everything. Some players give it everything, don't get me wrong, right? Some players they very committed to KvK, right? They willing to get 100%. But for me right now, at this stage of the game, like I can only commit a certain amount of troop for KvK, and that is about it, right? When it come down to like where my power is no longer suitable to be competitive for Ark of Osiris, that is when that is when I have to stop. Unfortunately, right? I'm gonna try to help with open field as much as I can, but like the troop, I cannot recover them, and that's what it is. Anyway, guys, just want to share you guys some of my thoughts there on the death troop again, and some of the real data here for Kingdom 1860. So maybe you can get a better idea of how much troop you are willing to sacrifice for each KvK, guys. Hope you guys enjoy the videos, guys.